Hey, everybody. It is Mike with Riding in the Ozarks. And with us tonight is the beautiful co host, Firecracker on Two Wheels, also the lady that shares my bed, and my buddy, Bagger Bader. He's coming to us from the Kansas City area, but he's always our special guest on the show tonight. And we're going to talk about the headline Livewire gets $89 million in a minute. But first, we're going to let everybody get a chance to get in here, and we're going to talk real quick about the event we're going to this weekend. So, Steve, you've been to this event in the past, right? And you have a personal connection to the club that's putting this event on.
Yeah, so in years past, they had it in Pleasanton, Kansas, which is about an hour south of Kansas City. So this will be the first year it's in the metro area. They're having it Lakeside Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas, right off Highway 5 and 635 Interstate. So it's a super easy to get to location. It's over by the Kansas Speedway. So there's plenty of hotels, restaurants, other stuff to do. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, so there's an MC that runs this, Soldiers for Christ. And the president of that club, I'm friends with his son and daughter. They both ride, and I've ridden with them a number of times. And I visited with them a little bit about what their goals are, why did they want to start this MC. And they felt that with their beliefs in God and Christ, they wanted to serve 1% clubs. They felt like there was a need for that, and so they went to those clubs in our area and asked, said, hey, here's what we want to do. They want to operate as a 1% type club, same rules, bylaws, all that sort of thing. And so then that way they can relate to them, and they can if a 1% club was to need spiritual guidance through tough times, maybe if one's in the hospital, they'll go up to visit them. If one needs to get married, they'll do the service and that sort of thing. So kind of a cool concept, and definitely sounds like there was a need for it, and that's what this MC does. And this is their big event every year. I'm assuming it's to, a fundraiser for their club.
Yeah. So, me and Firecracker are heading up that way Friday night. The event really starts on Saturday. It looks like Saturday morning. Looks like on Saturday evening, we have flat track races. They've got the wall of death and vendors and things like that going on during the day. But Saturday evening is going to be a main event kind of thing that's flat track racing. Then on Sunday morning, there's a few things. And then I think at noon, the Kansas A-Bait maybe sponsors dirt drags there and stuff. So it looks like going to be some different aspects of motorcycle racing and sporting events there going on. So that looks like a good time. We'll definitely enjoy that and stuff. So we just kind of want to give them a shout out. We always try and make people aware of some of the great events that are going on here in the Ozarks. This will be the first time me and Firecracker have attended this event, although she has attended a flat track race before. So I'm probably going to have to bring some super glue or a seatbelt to keep her in her seat. Firecracker, tell them about the one time I took you to a flat track race real quick. Springfield
Mile.
What
do you want me to say? I couldn't.
Oh, you couldn't sit down?
In my sit. Yeah.
You were a little disappointed that we didn't have more Harley riders versus Indian riders in the heats, but it was definitely a good time. Springfield Mile is a 1 mile track there in Springfield, Illinois. And they call it the fastest mile in motorcycling. It's a dirt track race, fastest mile in dirt. So anyway, we're going to have a good time, go see that event and stuff. But let's kind of, now that we've got a few people in here, we've got 13 people in the chat, we'll talk about kind of the thumbnail I put out tonight. And I'm going to read this article to you guys. I've got it up on this other screen here. And you guys know that I'm not a big fan of the Livewire electric motorcycle from Harley Davidson. I don't think that's a shock to anybody that watches the channel. But I'm going to try and be fair in my opinion on this. So this article came out the other day. I've seen several articles related to this, and says Senator Casey sent a letter of support to the Department of Energy advocating for funding. Funding comes from the Domestic Manufacturing Conversion Grant, made possible by the Inflation Reduction Act. And so it's titled Washington, D.C. U.S. Senator Bob Casey, Democrat, PA, secured $89 million in competitive grant funding from the U.S. Department of Energy to support Harley Davidson's zero emission motorcycle production in York County, Pennsylvania. The funding comes from blah, 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 blah. That stuff I already told you. It says, in a world where demand for electric vehicles is only growing stronger, we have an obligation to ensure that American manufacturers can compete on the international stage, said Senator Casey. Harley Davidson is one of America's iconic manufacturers, and this funding from the Inflation Reduction Act will ensure it will be able to continue leading the global market in the years and decades to come. I will always fight for investments to support a strong, clean economy and continue South Central Pennsylvania's legacy as a manufacturing powerhouse. Now, before we get into any more of that, Steve, I know you are involved in business professionally and stuff. And so what do you think about that? The government's taking $89 million that is provisions, are coming from something else called the Inflation Reduction Act. What the hell does giving money to electric motorcycles have to do with reducing inflation?
Well, let's be clear. Those are tax dollars, okay, which translates to our dollars out of our pockets.
So and an act that's supposed to reduce inflation is somehow providing funds to provide zero emissions motorcycles. I don't see what one has to do with the other.
Sounds like to me they're getting desperate. And without trying to get too political, the current administration, this is their baby. They consider this clean living. They're the new Green Deal and all this stuff, and they want to make everything, better in the atmosphere and whatnot and so forth. So it's been failing. This tells me it's failing. So now they're throwing money at it to try to create more interest. So in my opinion, it's just a waste of taxpayer dollars, which should shock no one.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that this is about keeping jobs in Pennsylvania. That's what this is about. If you remember here, we talked recently, I talked about in a video, Harley Davidson cutting positions. They heard anywhere 10 to 15% globally. Okay. I had people comment on that video. Some people have commented outside of Milwaukee that, yeah, there's some job cuts happened and some more happening. And that part of what Harley Davidson has announced they were doing was moving Livewire from California to Milwaukee to have more synergy and reduce cost and overhead, and everything related to Livewire that's in California is coming to Milwaukee. So, I mean, I guess I get a senator trying to keep jobs in Pennsylvania, provide funding to a manufacturer that has jobs in Pennsylvania and stuff like that. We had something similar when the United States government was going to shut down a geological survey center here in my hometown. And there was only like 3 spots that this work was done at in the United States. And this was one of them. And they were looking at shutting one of the 3 down. So, of course, the senators were all trying to vie with the USGS to keep those jobs in this location open. And it eventually did. And it just downsized a little and stuff. So, I mean, I get that, trying to keep jobs local and stuff, but I don't understand, how we divert funds and spend money on zero emission motorcycles for a reduction act that has to do with inflation. I don't see where this is reducing inflation in any way, shape, or form, unless they want to, subsidize the purchases that make it where you don't have to finance as much and you don't have as much, interest to pay or things like that. But I mean, I think that's a bullshit that it comes out of something called the Inflation Reduction Act. I mean, that to me is just ridiculous. That where the money's coming from. I don't have a problem that, they're trying to support Harley Davidson and keep the plant open in York. There was a statement in this article that talked about back in 2009 how he was an advocate, to keep Harley Davidson, to keep the York manufacturing facility open after hearing concerns that it might face restructuring. That's politics. I get that and stuff. I just find it, the name of the act they're taking the money from is ridiculous. One is doing the other. And, I read something in this that talked about this is supposed to, will include tax credits for individuals and companies. The Inflation Reduction Act includes tax credits for individuals and companies manufacture or deploying clean energy technologies to help lower costs and secure our energy dependence. Well, why don't we call it the Energy Independence Act instead of Inflation Reduction Act? Sounds like they sold something to the taxpayers with the name that they thought we would buy, and then they're using it for other shit, in my opinion.
Imagine that.
It talks about this will introduce Electric Motorcycle Parity Act that would include qualifying motorcycles among vehicles eligible for the clean vehicle tax credits in the IRA. All this crap. If people want electric motorcycles and they want to buy them and they want to pay for them, fine. I got no problem with capitalism. If people can pay for it and the company can pay for it. I've had people say that Livewire is a tax write-off for Harley Davidson, and maybe it is. But if they can afford it and it reduces their tax burden and it makes financial sense for them, then that's a decision I can't say or see. But this is $89 million of my money, your money, and everybody out here on the internet's money. And I don't even so much mind that it's going to Harley Davidson as the fact is it's going for something that loses money consistently, and there is no apparent demand for it outside of Congress and a very small minority of consumers.
Yeah, it smells of desperation. As a salesperson, my kudos goes to whoever this person was at Harley or whoever it was that sold this concept to the government that, hey, we need $89 million. Hell of a sales job, brother, whoever you are. But I'm not happy about this because it's a program that's failing. If there was some legs for it to stand on, okay, maybe I'd be a little bit more sympathetic. But until this thing starts running, throwing those kind of dollars at it, it's just another government wasted program, in my opinion.
Firecracker, I want to know, how do you feel about $89 million, which is part of your money, the money we paid in on taxes this year, going to subsidize or promote zero emissions electric motorcycles, even though they're Harley Davidsons? Honest opinion. Does it bother you? Do you care?
That's an awful lot of money, but I don't know what else to say. I don't care for electric motorcycles, so.
Which is just what we said. There's no demand. The demand's not there. Why are we throwing money at something there's no demand on?
So to give you a perspective, does anybody want to take a wild guess at how much money Livewire lost in 2023, according to the year-end financial results?
$89 million.
All right. That's one guess. Firecracker, what's your guess?
How much they lost?
Last year, 2023 full year-end results. I'm looking at them right here on the screen. I pulled this up for this question. I had this planned. How much money did Livewire lose in 2023? Operating income loss.
I don't know. 100,000.
No, 117 million. This is about the amount of what they lose in 3 months.
So basically what we've just said is
we bought them 9 months of black before they go back to the losing.
Yeah. We're putting a Band-Aid on a wound that's never going to heal.
Well, and it's, I mean, it's not even a big Band-Aid, to be honest. 9 months when you're talking production isn't not going to turn the tide. Electric vehicles aren't going to turn around in 9 months and suddenly start making money. All we've done is reduce the burden of loss, not change the outcome, in my opinion, based on the historical stuff I've seen for Livewire and how much money, they've lost consistently. The fact that projected sales is nowhere near what they projected it would be 3 or 4 years ago when they spun Livewire off. We've not even come close to what they said it was going to do.
Yeah. Once again, kudos to whoever the guy was that was able to sell this.
Hey, there's Witchcraft Cycle Works in the chat, and we've got Patrick from here from Europe tonight. We got XAN in the chat over here, Two Wheeling Tom. We're talking about your favorite subject, Bill and Ray, electric motorcycles. I know how you guys, care about the environment and think we should all ride bicycles and not spend gas, right?
I'm sure they want to get a hold of one of those live wires and make a chopper out of it.
That would be interesting to see what Bill could do with the live wire.
It looked a hell of a lot better than what they got so far.
Well, I don't know that it would appeal to the chopper crowd, though, when, there's no kickstart, there's no carburetor to tune or anything else.
This thing's got suspension. What the hell?
So, yeah, I mean, now here's another kind of on this whole electric and zero emission stuff article I came across the other day that I thought was kind of interesting. So for anybody out in the Utah area, if you live in that area and you see this video, you should pay attention, because you got a group of Utah Physicians for a Healthy Environment suing the Harley Davidson dealers in the Utah area for, I guess, putting out motorcycles without catalytic converters and loud exhaust and no catalytic converters kind of crap. Of course, they're going to have to try and prove that the dealers actually did that, but the motorcycle exhaust contributes to prolongs the poor air quality in Utah that has been linked to serious diseases, from a range of short-term increased rates of heart attacks, strokes, and death to long-term neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. So I want you guys to tell me, who in here believes that motorcycle exhaust is more detrimental to your health than fast food?
I'm laughing my ass off, because are you shitting me? I mean, how many motorcycles are in Utah? And this is the big scare. This is what's going to take us down.
Well, getting rid of the motorcycles is going to fix this. This is claims that dealerships that sell motorcycles without catalytic converters in the Wasatch Front area of the state are polluting the air. And the nonprofit cannot continue with this claim that motorcycles are, because they had to do this because they could not continue with their claim that motorcycles are so loud they violate federal law. So they couldn't win on noise pollution. So now we're going for air pollution quality. So I think, if you are in the Utah area, you should find out if your physician is a member of the Utah Physicians for a Healthy Environment. And if so, think about spending your money elsewhere if you're a motorcyclist.
Wow. That's
firecracker.
Too happy world right now, aren't we?
I mean, you work in the healthcare industry. Do you think that we see a lot of people come in who are sick because they've been around too many motorcycle exhaust fumes? Do you think that's the biggest threat to public safety and public health?
No, they probably should look more into motor vehicle.
Hey, there's a thought. What's the ratio between the number of cars in Utah and motorcycles?
It's, that's the whole problem with all the EPA stuff. They went after diesels. They went after motorcycles. They go after the fringe, because if they go after mainstream people, they can go after these fringe segments and think they have a better chance of getting something done because they're not stirring the big hornet. They're just swatting a few bees here and there.
Yeah. And then Harley will probably have to, settle out of court. They'll get a couple million out of the deal.
Bill wants to know what about loud lawn mowers and weed eaters? Do they need a catalytic converter?
Goddamn right they do. Praise Jesus.
I mean, every yard has to get mowed that has grass. Some yards are in the city are, of course, smaller than yards in the country and things like that. But all this grass has got to get mowed. Maybe we should just spray grass killer down at the beginning of the year and kill all the grass, so we don't have to run lawnmowers and we can save on emissions. That's an idea.
No, because those chemicals have harmful, ingredients, and it'll cause problems too. And then
so how do we safely dispose of batteries from electric vehicles?
I don't know, but somebody's looking to sue somebody over it.
You've seen reports of electric cars that had to be buried under the ground to keep them from catching back on fire after accidents?
Yeah.
It's more silliness. And like I said, I mean, if motorcyclists want electric motorcycles, I don't care. Let them buy them. I'm not saying they shouldn't exist. I'm saying I don't like the fact that we're throwing tons of money into something that's not a popular product. And now, and on top of that, I mean, Harley Davidson's a private corporation. If I was a stockholder, I wouldn't be thrilled with it, but they're a publicly traded corporation, but it's not the same when the government starts giving them taxpayers' dollars, my money, your money. If you want to reduce inflation, quit taxing me so I have more money to pay off debt and get out of debt for interest and everything else. Instead of taking my tax dollars that I've been forced to pay and giving it to a program that, personally I feel is financially not able to support itself. It's another form of welfare. We're providing welfare to electric motorcycles.
Yeah, I was telling somebody the other day, I said, just think how great our country would be if there was true checks and balances on our tax dollars.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would love to see that United States of America, but we're never, most likely we're never going to see it.
Bill's right. I do have a problem that's never going to work. We cannot interject logic into lawsuits. It has no place or bearing in those situations.
Yeah. Desperate people do desperate things. That's usually when a lawsuit starts.
Let's see. Two Wheel and Tom. Oh, come on. You like giving your money to foreign wars so they can buy new houses and cars in other countries. Billions. Tom, I'm kind of the opinion that if we have a war with your country, the last thing we should do is spend any money to rebuild it. In fact, I kind of feel like if we have to go in and kick your ass, whatever you have is ours. I'm more of the Roman Empire kind of thinking.
Okay, Napoleon, go get him, brother.
If I got to turn your country into a giant litter box for kitties to shit in, then whatever oil's left is mine. Just how I personally feel about it. And it's probably not going to be a very popular, attitude with some people, but I've never broke somebody's nose and then out of the goodness of my heart offered to pay for their doctor's bill.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
common sense goes a long way. That's the thing that frustrates me is we've allowed two parties to fight each other all day long, and then you lose common sense. And
so, Firecracker, do you got any comments? You've been awful quiet on this topic. You don't care?
Yeah.
You just want to ride your motorcycle in peace?
Yeah. Yep.
Don't tread on me.
Quit wasting money.
Yeah.
but taxed and poor.
I'm not even going to put Bill's comment on the screen. I don't want anybody seeing that.
Come on, man.
I decline.
It must be good.
I decline. So another interesting article I come across, and I think this will be interesting to see. We'll know soon. We got about a little over a week till Harley Davidson's financial results come out for second quarter. This article says Harley Davidson's retail sales in June were likely down in the mid to high single-digit percentage range as demand for motorcycles takes a hit from the heat waves and falling prices for used bikes. Davidson analysts say in a research note after checking in with Harley dealers. Those dealers say heat waves across the country are making riding less desirable, and the large year-over-year decline in used chopper pricing have stalled the trade-up activity, according to the note. Elevated interest rates also have an impact as in the fact that the most affluent or more affluent Harley fans bought the current model year bikes earlier in the selling season this year, according to dealers. So, in other words, we had a strong first quarter. Everybody who wanted one of these new models I've been talking about was coming, and they came out with it, and everybody jumped right out there that was going to get one and bought one in the first quarter. And
not everybody.
Well, not me, but that's because I'm a poor white man.
Not everybody.
True. Well, and
I've been trying to use that white privilege to get me a new motorcycle, but it ain't panned out.
Not working, huh? Damn it.
Well, I don't feel that the heat wave has had anything to do with it. Because if you really enjoy riding, then you're going to get out there and ride. You may not go for as long of a ride, but I feel that maybe the used market might have affected it because people think, well, shoot, I can get this one at this cost or spend, way more to get a brand new one. This one looks just as nice.
We had a barbecue. We had a barbecue this weekend, so we had a whole bunch of people in and out the house, and we have gotten flies trapped in the house now we can't get rid of. I tried to get Firecracker to bring the bud zapper inside and leave it to get rid of them, but that hasn't happened yet. But I'm trying to keep him out of my microphone, out of my drink. But yeah, I mean, Steve, do you think the heat's been enough that it's kept anybody from riding in your group?
I don't feel that the heat's been as bad as it was last year. Last year we had 100 degrees and stuff. Yeah. I don't feel that it's the heat. I feel that it's maybe the used bike market dropping, but also everybody, all your stuff is going up. Your insurance going up. Your food bill's going up. This is going up. That's going up. But how many people are actually getting compensated from their work for the increase in the cost of living? Because I can tell you, I haven't got an increase in pay for the difference that we're paying in the increase of stuff.
So inflation's kicking your ass. You sound like Witchcraft Cycle Works. After groceries and rent, nothing is left to buy a bike.
Well, and then on top of that, I know for me, I've got some things that I want to do to my house, but I'm going to wait until next year to see if we get a new, if Trump gets in there, does he drive down the cost of inflation? That's what I'm hoping for. And then, wow, buy one of these brand new Street Glide or Road Glides next year and maybe get a better interest rate, get a little bit better deal on the sale price.
I'm just, just with what we're doing with the house. I mean, they're not,
they're not looking to loan money as easily as they were in the past.
No, they're being very, very, picky and this and that. And, how can you afford to go buy a new bike and the economy just keeps getting worse. Everything keeps raising. I mean, and our biggest thing is we're waiting till we get the house bill done and then plan on him getting a bike. But now he's kind of screwed because, the used bike markets went down.
Right. I'm going to lose $2,000 or $3,000, 20% off the value of my motorcycle if I sell it right now. That's kind of hard to bite off.
I'll just take it to you tomorrow.
Not a pleasant thought. That's for damn sure.
And I mean, here we are coming into mid-July. If I start looking at it, do I want to buy a bike in August and ride it in September and October and then park it? Or do I want to wait till December, January and see what comes out on the 2025s? Maybe the few bug fixes. I don't expect anything big, anything life-changing, or anything else. But interest rates might drop. It might be better to buy something in December or January, buy a 2024 left on the floor when 2025s come out.
It'd be kind of fun to do is, tomorrow you go down to your local bank, wherever you like to get your loans from, see what the going interest rate is, go to your Harley dealership, find out what they're willing to wheel and deal the bike of your choice would cost. And then let's say you can't pull the trigger till next year. What are those same numbers? Were you able to get a better interest rate? Were you able to, knock another $1,000 off the price? What was your bike worth today on the used market versus what it would be worth next year on the used market? There's different variables to be fun to see the numbers.
Yeah. I mean, I when I was talking about bike stuff, anytime I get into this financial stuff, I have some people I respect who have said the same statement. They're like, if you can't afford to pay cash, you shouldn't buy one. Or I've always paid cash for Harley Davidson because I don't want to pay interest and everything else. And I think that can make sense for some people, but I don't think it makes sense for everybody. If you're not interested in investing or hustling with your money, then probably saving and buying it without interest is great. But I mean, the fact is, if you got, 2016, I had bought a motorcycle for $21,000 out the door. I paid less than 4% interest on that motorcycle loan. Okay. That was my deal. Now, what if some people would say, well, you should have paid cash for it, save that 4%. What if I could have paid 4% on that and I could have invested that money and made 10% and I would have had a profit of 6% rather than a loss? Right. I mean, there's different ways of looking at that. If you're not willing to invest your money or gamble your money, and whether it's stock market or if it's, buying and selling used vehicles and fixing them or whatever your side hustle is, then maybe that makes sense to just save your money and pay cash for something and not pay interest. But there are plenty of business opportunities that can pay more dividends than what the interest rate is at some times. Now, interest rate being up and around, 10 and 12% for some people and even higher, might make things different now than it was in 2016. But I remember, 2014, I bought a car with 0% interest, 0%. And then I had a insurance company got into financing and they wanted to refinance my car. And I'm like, well, how much are you going to pay me a month? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, the only way you're going to make me a better deal is if you're paying me. So how much are you willing to pay me a month to have my loan through you? And they're like, you have my own shop. And I'm like, well, then leave me alone. Quit trying to convince me to refinance because I've got 0%. And they're like, oh, but those things existed now. You don't see much of that right now.
Hey, if that was a government program, they'd probably do it. That's just how fucking stupid they are.
Well, it's just like the fact of, people can go out there and file bankruptcy and not even a year later have an easier time getting a loan than people that actually pay their bills and keep up with their stuff and all that, it seems like.
But, and Bill brings up a point here, what price do you put on happiness or peace of mind? my happiest and peace of mind is right here with you guys. You know, it's there are people who spend hundreds of dollars a month on a psychiatrist or a therapist or whatever it is. That's what they have to have, that, process to, get things off their mind, to help them cope with whatever it is. For me, it's a motorcycle ride, because when I ride a motorcycle, I don't think about nothing else. Everything else gets washed away, because I got to focus on what I'm doing right then and there, or I'm dead. I get my head's on a swivel. I'm watching for everybody to pull out in front of me or to change lanes and no blinker, cut me off, whatever else. I'm focused on that, and everything else drains away. And, the interest payment on that motorcycle at 5% was probably less than what, a lot of people spend on therapy or a psychiatrist or whatever else. So, there is a value to happiness as well. Now, maybe not everybody's in that situation. Maybe some people are just as happy not riding a motorcycle as riding a motorcycle. And if that's the case, then I would tell those people to not ride a motorcycle. If it doesn't improve your life and make you happier and with value in those intangible ways, then you probably shouldn't be doing it, because it's dangerous. That's the facts.
It is. Yeah, and then one of the other variables is, let's say that you want to save money to pay cash for a bike. I mean, you still kind of made a payment, right? Because you've got to have the discipline to take those dollars and save it.
Yeah, so, and you saved it. Maybe you drew a little interest on it while you were saving it, and then you spent it rather than paying interest. But in hindsight's 2020, it's easy to go back and say, well, if I had spent that $5,000 on this stock, it would have doubled. It would have done this. I'd have made this much, blah, blah, blah. And not everybody's going to do that.
Yeah. But and let's say you save for 5 years. Well, that if you would have just got a loan on the bike, you could have rode for those 5 years. So different ways to look at it.
Yep.
So Sparky had a question here. Is HD pushing or hoping for internet sales over in dealership shopping? I don't think so. We talked about this recently. Remember, Steve, we talked about all the push for dealership events across the country on the same time. Yeah. I think Harley Davidson is actually pushing dealerships to have events to get people inside of dealerships. I don't think they would be spending money and pushing for that if they were wanting to do an internet sales model. Here's another thing that tells me that the internet sales model is not, there's obviously some things they've done in that arena, like the dealer areas not being able to ship products outside of their area to other customers, blah, blah, blah. That all happened a year or two ago, but I think that was more for a competitive thing among the dealerships. But they are selling the ST package that I was on that Road Glide I rode at Spring Fling. That's a dealership only install. You don't order it from the factory with that on there. You have to order the package and the dealer buy it from the dealer. It gives the dealer an opportunity to sell that parts and accessories package, gives the dealer the opportunity to install that package, gives the dealer an opportunity to make money, and pushes you to go into the dealer to get it. It's not an internet order. It's not even if you could order it over the internet, I'm sure you'd have to pick it up at a dealership. It's not a drop ship to your home kind of deal.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I would assume that after, we had all those dealerships have to shut down, 4 years ago, whatever it was. I would assume that at this point in time, they have the number of dealerships they want to keep around, and that's the lifeblood of the company. So I doubt if they want to piss off these dealership owners.
Well, let's congratulate Richard here. Richard just bought him a 2024 Street Bob 114. He said he paid 5.99%. This improves my life. Inflation is topping off now and will be headed down to the mid threes in January. I sure hope so, but I'm glad you were able to get out and get you a bike and got you an interest rate you could live with. But there's all kinds of ways to slice and dice things and look at things, and not what is best for you or best for me is necessarily what's best for everyone else. I can tell you what I would do what it means to me, where I perceive the value in something, but that's for me. I had somebody comment about something or another, and they said they referred to a motorcycle as a toy. And I said, we're not the same. And they kind of got butthurt over it. And I said, I would never refer to a motorcycle as a toy. I don't see it as a toy. I mean, I'm going to, unless something financially were to change, I'm always going to have an older used motorcycle as a spare in the garage, that if I'm between bikes or something else, if I decide to sell one, trade one, whatever, I still got something to ride. I've rode that Dyna over 1,000 miles. I put 700-800 miles on it in 2 or 3 days here, back middle of June, so it's older. I've made some improvements to it to make it a little more rideable for 200 or 300 mile days and stuff, but I'm going to have something. I don't see me not having a motorcycle in my life as long as I'm physically able to ride from this point forward. I married a woman who supports that and enjoys it. And, it's something we do together. I don't see any reason anybody would, talk me out of it or change my mind.
So, Mike, with that said, instead of calling it a toy, would you say you would call it a lifestyle? Because I think that's how I look at it.
Definitely. I saw a reel the other day, and they talked about that 30 somethings look for something to become a hobby. They buy a motorcycle and they find out it becomes their personality rather than a hobby. And I don't think that that's necessarily wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not everybody, but for some. Sparky says motor clothes is the bloodline of HD. Well, I mean, it's a revenue stream, there's no doubt about that. I wouldn't argue that, but it's definitely not the big percentage of HDMC. I could go back and find like some of the mixed stuff on that and stuff in the finances, but I've looked at it in the past, and while I won't say it's not significant, it's not anything compared to the revenue that's brought in by the motorcycle sales itself. You got to sell a lot of t-shirts to make up for the sale of a $20,000 motorcycle or a $15,000 motorcycle. And I talked to a dealership recently that said that they've got a lot of interest in used motorcycles. They're dealing in a lot of used motorcycles right now. It's the $10,000 buyer, he said, was actually harder to get approved than the $15,000 buyer. The $10,000 buyer generally was shopping for a $10,000 motorcycle because it's all they could afford. And so he's having a harder time getting those people approved now than the guy that's coming in that can spend $15,000 to $20,000. Generally, they are in a better financial situation. They know it. They know they can spend that, and they're able to get approved, where people who were borderline just trying to find a bike at the low end are having a harder time getting approved. So let's see, Steve, you nailed it. It's a lifestyle. I ride at work and at play. I ride at work and at play. Yeah. Richard said, Gen Xers have their priorities set and they know what they want. Witchcraft says for some it's a hobby, for others it's a lifestyle. I think the HD clothing line is no different than Nike clothing line, since they're mostly a shoe company. I'm sure you're not making a crack at Puma either. HD is a motorcycle company making money every way they can. Well, I mean, sure. And that they should. I mean, that is the job of a corporation. A lot of people don't think about that, but that is the job of the corporation, is to make money. Some of them make them selling Legos. Some of them make them selling motorcycles. Some of them make it selling food products. There's lots of different products for lots of different audiences. Harley Davidson started, 121 years ago making motorcycles, and they've carried that legacy. And I'm glad they have, and I'm glad they're here. I support Harley Davidson. I mean, I wore this shirt to work. I got to wear a collared shirt to work. I wear Harley Davidson polos to work. I don't love everything the company does, but I love the motorcycles and I love the brand. And, I'm hating on the Livewire a little bit tonight, but, I don't really think of it as a Harley Davidson. And they spun it off because they knew it really wasn't what the core of the Harley Davidson brand was about.
Well, if I remember right, Mike, way back when we started these lives, you said it was too early for this. And I think you're right. I mean, I understand, you might want to be ahead, get your foot in the water, but I think they were a little premature on exactly how many people were interested in electric bikes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't be doing R&D. I'm not even saying they shouldn't sell an electric motorcycle, but I think we got to be realistic about the need. I don't think marketing is going to change sales. I think the only way Livewire sell more is by the R&D developing more range, developing more reliability, and for a more affordable price. And that may happen through R&D, and that may take time. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be playing at that game, but I don't think that we need, the production levels we have. And I don't think we need $89 million of taxpayers' money to promote even more, production of electric motorcycles.
Yeah. $30,000 price tag was just overwhelming. I mean, I think anybody, when any Harley owner or somebody that likes to ride Harley saw the $30,000 price tag on an electric motorcycle, I mean, that was just way too high.
I ain't paying $30,000 for something I can only ride 50 miles one way, and I got to turn around and go home because I got to now plug it in and charge. And, in California, some large areas in Texas and places, there might be level 2 charging stations around where they could plug it in for 20 minutes or 40 minutes and let it charge while they eat. But that is not the norm. And it's definitely not the norm here in the Midwest.
Well, and one of the
those are outlier markets.
Yeah. And one of the biggest points is, I bought that Harley Davidson because I need help getting laid. I'm not going to get laid on an electric bike, right? Firecracker. I mean,
you might get laid, but you may be catching instead of pitching.
Good point, which is again why I'm not buying one. Oh man, it is what it is.
It is. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's just my perspective. I just, the $89 million really, as a taxpayer, burns my ass. I mean, is that a ton of money? Not overall, but how many of these things are going on like this that we don't hear about or know about that are, the Inflation Reduction Act just gave money away to a manufacturer for a product that 95% of their market doesn't want or more. So,
and is this the door that opens up to additional funding? That's again just a waste of money. I mean, is this just the beginning of it? Maybe next time they double that budget.
We were talking about mileage when we rode here recently, me and Firecracker filling up same time. I'm averaging 46 miles a gallon on a 24-year-old Harley Davidson. Okay. Firecracker has got a 5-year-old Harley Davidson and getting the same mileage with fuel injection and everything else. The EPA, fuel injection, all this stuff, and she's not getting any better mileage. Maybe she's putting out less pollutants than I am, but, we're still consuming the same amount of fossil fuels per mile. That road glide that I rode through the Ozarks for the Spring Fling Rally averaged 46 miles to the gallon across that trip or better, maybe 50 something. I'll have to go back and look at it. I've got it on the video that I'm working on. I saw the other day, I think, Adam posted something about he was getting almost 60 miles a gallon on his new bike.
No, and
so you know, unless a car is 3 times more efficient at the pollution aspect than a motorcycle, I think we should definitely be focusing on the other side of the coin, not the motorcycles. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of more cars on the road than there are motorcycles, and they're generally less fuel efficient. So, I mean, motorcycles have to be pretty poorly tuned and be putting out a lot more pollution per vehicle than the cars for it makes sense to be pointing at them and not be pointing at the 90% of the market. So the dealer in Nashville is having events every weekend. I've been working with Renegade this year. They've got stuff going on every weekend. This weekend, they've got an exhaust shootout contest, loudest exhaust. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of stuff going on like that. I've been getting between 55 and 60 on my HD, and that's going an average of 60 to 70 mile an hour.
Good numbers.
We'll be interested to see what happens to Firecracker's numbers when she gets hers dyno tuned. That's coming soon.
Ooh.
Exhaust is ordered. Exhaust is ordered. Once the exhaust comes in, it's time to go slap on the intake, the exhaust, and go get the tune done.
Are we going to share what exhaust we went with?
He's talking to you, not me.
We went with Tab Performance.
Ooh, nothing but the best.
Tell him what kind of
get some of those BAM sticks, are you?
No, they don't make BAM sticks for the Sport Glide.
Ah.
But it is Tab Performance exhaust. You're going to tell him what kind of baffles you got?
The Zombie? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the Zombie. Yep.
So the 2 into 1 or?
Yeah, it's a 2-into-1 factory head pipe.
Okay.
And as I understand it, the catalytic converter's in the muffler. So when we change mufflers, we should get more airflow. And we put air on a high flow aftermarket air intake, we should get more airflow.
Yes.
So we definitely need a tune. Firecracker, did you see that comment from Two Wheel and Tom?
Thank you.
It's one thing about everybody kind of knows. We had somebody the other day because I've been riding the purple Dyna that was hers. So we just parked 2 purple bikes next to each other, and everybody pretty much knows it's us.
I know. I saw that. I was kind of chuckled. Now, are those the bikes that you're bringing up to Kansas City this weekend, or are you bringing the Street Glide?
I think I'm bringing the Street Glide to Kansas City this weekend. I have not rode it since Steel Horse Rally.
You might not know how to ride it anymore. You should probably ride the purple Dyna so people know we're together.
Is that what you think? The Witch gets about 1,000 miles per quart of oil. Well, that's because it's a shovel head. But it is the Wicked Witch. And he was told before he bought it to cut her heart out and bury it 6 feet deep. So he's got nobody to blame but himself. He's a glutton for punishment. So, Steve, I guess we'll see you this weekend again in person.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
What are you going to ride this weekend? You going to bring out GG or the Glide?
Well, I think Sunday there's maybe a bike show. So, although both bikes I'm proud of, I might bring GG out and see it. I might throw it in the contest if it is one, and see what she can do.
I thought there was a bike show both days.
Could be.
So you could bring one day and one the other day.
I could. I don't know, which one do you guys think would win? Have the best chance?
Oh no, that you've got both. Both of them are really nice.
I would say if I was going to show, I would probably show Gigi. That would be the one if I was serious about showing.
I think so. Even though the Road Glide's got a brand new paint job, I still think Gigi's kind of the showstopper of the two.
She's all show. She's built for show.
Yeah.
She's not built for anything particularly other than that.
Certainly not for speed, because you blew my doors off.
I blew your doors off with your own motorcycle.
Yeah.
Hey,
I knew that was coming.
Chase is in the house. He says, howdy.
Chase.
My goddamn fly.
We'll be down there to visit you in a couple months, Chase. In September, Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue.
Yeah, he's going to stay a couple nights at one of the houses we rented.
Ah, cool. Zan, of course, is in the house. Always like to see Zan.
BBB, BFE, baby.
Yes, sir.
And Chase is coming to Bike Fest this year. So we'll see him 2 weekends in a row.
Oh, good.
He's actually staying where Steve's staying, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aren't you at the Encore place?
Yeah.
Yes, Chase, I think, got rooms there.
Chase says he's going to bring a Speedo so you guys can hang out at the pool.
And I think that resort is booked out because I had a couple other people that tried to get rooms and said they couldn't get them. So, make sure you bring your swimsuits. The Encore pool bar is kick ass. Good times.
It is nice. I haven't been in it, but I've seen it. We seen you in there that one time.
Yep.
Bring you and your banana hammock.
Well, just showing off the eighth wonder of the world, guys. I mean, I feel like it's kind of my obligation. It's a monster.
Chase brought the ninth wonder of the world to the Freedom Rally. You guys will have to compare.
We'll have a wonder of the world contest.
Chase, I wasn't looking for the party spot, but it was cheaper than a lot of the Airbnb stuff around. So why not? Yeah, the Airbnb stuff has gone up a little bit the last year or two. That's why we've stayed with a friend. It's getting, I think as like a lot of things, inflation, events getting bigger, that people demanding more money. Witchcraft said Chase ain't as bad as y'all say. Mr. Bronze Mr. Buns bronze, baby. Yeah, he took bronze place for the Mr. Buns contest, the Freedom Rally. So
that boy's got a sweet ass.
I think I'll pass on that commentary, but I'll take your word for it. I didn't really watch the contest either. I was busy working, but
I'm just
Firecracker got to see things from not just Chase, but other friends of ours that participated in that event that she just can't unsee.
Yeah, that's just something some of them, I didn't want to see that part of them.
When we have our next Freedom Rally meeting, Firecracker, remind me to tell them that Chase would have preferred a license plate trophy for that over cash, that they should consider that, and that he will exchange his cash prize for a license plate if they'll order him one.
Yeah, because I don't know, a lot of people just get them up there. They're not as willing as Chase is. They want to go for the money.
Yeah, well, Chase has got integrity. He's got integrity. He would rather, show his buns for a really cool prize than cash money.
Well, I think it would be a good idea to do that. I mean, all they'd have to do is try to get sponsors to sponsor the trophy, but still get.
Now he wants to say it was really cold, and that's why everyone was feeling so humble. I didn't think it was that cold. Then again, I was more had more apparel on than he did. We'll leave it at that.
What happens if the Freedom Rally stays the Freedom Rally?
Pretty much.
All right, Steve. Anything big coming up after the rally this weekend? Harley Davidson's homecoming rally is the next weekend. We're not going to make it to that this year. We thought we might go, but that's not in the cards for us. Anybody that's going to homecoming, I hope you have a great time. Travel safe. Then, of course, it's off to Sturgis immediately after that. I haven't even put out a Sturgis video. We're not making Sturgis this year, but we are making plans for Sturgis next year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking my car, and then I'm going to take my 19-year-old son up there. And the closer we're getting to that, the more really the excited I'm getting. I think that taking my car, the DUI Cruiser, could be a benefit. I'm kind of looking forward to, being able to get places and do some things maybe that I wouldn't do on the bike.
Well, I mean, you could have taken him on the bike, but he probably didn't want to ride facing backwards the whole way.
Yeah. I think the car is the right move.
Yeah, probably for your son's sake.
Yeah.
Hey, we were talking about going to Sturgis next year with our group. And one guy said we could drive all night and get there, And I was like, we were talking about riding. I was like, wait, I could get my Iron Butt Challenge if I did that. Ride the whole way.
So, Chase, I blame you because I'm not even sure she knew what an Iron Butt Challenge was until you started doing videos on it.
Nick did it coming back from Sturgis our first year going.
Yeah, but he did it unofficial. He didn't actually do the Iron Butt.
Yeah, but I knew what it was.
He did 1,000 miles in 24 hours.
I did an Iron Butt from Deadwood back to Kansas City in 2019.
That was a whole 1,000 miles. You didn't have to do a couple laps.
I had to ride down past Emporia and then come back up, and then I rode around Kansas City for a little bit until I got it. But
yeah, I was gonna say because it's like right. I mean, like from where we stay out at Lead to our house is like 987 miles or some shit. I would literally have to drive across town and back to round it up. And that's from Lead, not from Sturgis.
Yeah. From our hotel in Deadwood to my house was 754 miles. So I had to.
Do a little trucking on it.
Yeah. But it was the perfect day to do it. It wasn't super, super hot. And it wasn't windy, and so it
wasn't raining.
Wasn't raining, wasn't snowing, wasn't hailing. It was just one of those perfect days. And I thought, you know what? Let's. I was feeling good. I said, let's do it.
Well, we'll see closer to time if we figure out.
We got a year to plan it.
Yep.
Maybe should we do like an Iron Butt group ride?
Well, as far as I know, we're probably the only ones going to be riding the way they're talking.
I figured out a pretty cool route. You could go from Kansas City to St. Louis, down to Memphis, over to Fort Smith, and back up to Kansas City, and that's 1,000 miles.
Yeah, I don't know. We have to see. I'm kind of thinking. I wonder, for us, if we were to, what way we could go that would add just a few miles to this. I mean, so we'd have our 1,000 miles without going a lot out of our way.
I would go north, because if you go when you go up north, you've got less traffic. The roads are nice and straight and flat.
Well, if we took 19 up through Hannibal and up along the river road and cut across to Iowa, I'm sure it would be well over 1,000.
Yeah.
Because we're almost at 1,000 on a most direct route. So we don't have to go too far out of our way.
No.
We'll think about it.
Figure it out.
Witchcraft says a ride without rain. Count me in.
No shit.
Hold it. If we count you in, it won't be a ride without rain.
Yeah.
Bill, the rainmaker. YouTube user. Straight, flat equals boring. Well, across parts of South Dakota are straight and flat.
Yeah.
And parts of Iowa are straight and flat. And I get they're boring, but
for an Iron Butt though, that's not a bad thing.
Right. And let's be honest here. I mean, if I want to ride twisty rides, I'm not, probably looking to do that for an Iron Butt. I mean, I get to do that all the time anyway. So I just thought I'm not going to go out of my way probably to do an iron butt, but if I can make one happen while I'm going somewhere anyway, then maybe I would do it.
Right.
Chase said he got the bugs off with about 4 hours of rain on his last one, but it built some character. Sparky said Hannibal, Missouri, been there a few times, used to drive through to get to St. Louis. Well, we're pretty familiar with St. Louis. They've got flooding in St. Louis tonight for anybody that didn't catch that earlier. I-44 just west of St. Louis was shut down for part of the time today. So
Wagonators are in.
Wagonators, hey everybody. Yeah, we just been talking about how the federal government is giving away $89 million of your money to help support an electric motorcycle.
Yay. Not.
Everybody cheer at once.
Right. I guess it could have been worse knowing our government, and they count our blessings, I guess.
But at least it's 2 wheels and not 4 wheels. That's about the most positive thing I can say about it.
Yeah.
The Livewire was dead. No, I wish, but no. Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say I wish. I wish the Livewire supported itself and had enough customer base to, I don't mind even that it loses a little money. Everybody can use a little tax write-off or whatever. But when we start subsidizing it with my money, that's where it really starts to get to be a, thorn in my ass.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to some R&D, continue to do R&D, figure out a way to make it less expensive, more efficient, and that sort of thing. But yeah, they were too quick to get it started. I don't think they read the market correctly.
Somebody said, somebody asked me recently on another topic here that I think Harley Davidson's going to announce another new motorcycle at homecoming this year, like they announced the CVOs last year. I don't think they are. I just, to say it on the record live, I don't think they're going to announce new motorcycles at homecoming this year. I think with sales being down, economy being what it is, it's buckle down time. These new Street Glide and Road Glide have been in the works for years. They couldn't delay that, either way. But, I just don't think that's on the agenda personally.
Now, Mike, this is your area that you love, and I do too, to a degree, but this is really what you love. Right now, Harley's got a pretty good grasp of what they should, I think, as far as what they offered to the public. I mean, they've got the basis pretty well covered.
I think they did a great job on the 2024 touring models with what they brought and the value they brought them for. I'd love to have seen inverted front forks, but I understand that's got to stay to be a CVO only thing to keep it a little more exclusive. Otherwise, what's the CVO really got besides a bigger motor? And you can go out and buy a bigger motor, but it's got bigger motor, better suspension, track mode, some other things that, some bells and whistles, carbon fiber. So they did some things to keep the CVOs and stuff this year special, and still keep that separation from the other touring bikes. But, I guess the question is it time to bring back the Road King? How many years are we going to let it sit on the shelf before we bring it back out? Now think about this. Economy's getting tough. We need a less expensive bike. The trend has been touring bikes. Well, if we brought a Road King back for 21 or 22,000 or something, $5,000 or $6,000 less than these fairinged bikes, to have you a more cheap entry level touring bike.
What
Does
about
that make sense?
Yeah, and what about a Road King with like an ST fairing? That style of fairing for the Road King that was you could snap on and off.
Well, I think that's something that could be done, but I don't know that Harley would do it. I don't know I think they'll leave that fairing to the aftermarket. They want to keep it differentiated from the Street Glide, Road Glide. Those are their fairing bikes. Keep the cost down. Keep the entry level touring bike. They got rid of Electric Glide. We've got the Road King Special. I like the Road King Special, but I don't know that if times are tough and people are demanding more affordable motorcycles, that would be a way to differentiate for a little while. Offer the Road King instead of the Road King Special. Bring it out with the maybe the 114 now instead of the 107, but not some of the other trim and chromes and special stuff, and try and keep that price down as much as possible.
Well, and then when I think about the soft tails, I like what they're doing there too. I think they have just about every style that you'd want. I don't think there's anything missing.
We got the well, some people would like the deluxe. Yeah, some people would like the deluxe back. We've got a Heritage that you can customize, or you could do the deluxe was a more dressy version of that. Yeah. But I mean, the fact is, if the money's tight and the economy's tight and you need a cheaper bike, you don't bring the deluxe back. You bring back the Road King. You bring back the more basic models that are more affordable, more economical to produce and sell.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. I've got some theories. We'll be probably starting to talk about that stuff after August. It'll be time to ramp up the what do you think's going to happen stuff.
Yeah, I know. And I think about the Sportster S. I just don't see any of them out on the road. I'd love to know what those numbers are.
So Sparky's got family all over this area. Look at him. He's talking about he's got a sister up in Springfield, but he has a sister in KC Mo and another in KC, Kansas, and nieces and nephews in O'Fallon. Now, are you talking about Springfield, Illinois or Springfield, Missouri, Sparky?
I'm guessing Missouri. And, Sparky wants that Road King ST. I agree. I think a Road King ST would be badass.
Illinois.
I was wrong.
Well, he said up, so that's why I was thinking. Richard said, I originally went to buy a Road Glide, but chose the Street Bob. I plan on keeping this one, and after I retire, the Road Glide will be my final gift to myself for retirement.
Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say, and I don't know what age is going to retire or what his health is or anything else, but one of the trends I'm seeing is as people get older into retirement, they're moving away from the touring bikes and moving back to like the Lowrider ST that has some bags, something like the Sport Glide that has some bags that they can do light touring on, that's lighter weight, easier to kick up off the kickstand, easier to hold up in a parking lot if it tips a little on you. So Richard's a little older than me. He'll 7 years, he'll turn 65. And of course, it'll depend on your health, but that's one of the things I thought about after talking to a lot of people and seeing what my dad's health is like at 71, 73 now, but what his health was like, even, his knees have been bad for a while now and his back and stuff. And in his 60s, I mean, he started getting away from heavier bikes, Yeah.
Something I do want to throw out there, it's off the subject, but
now Sparky's talking about paddling the current river, honey, when he was a teenager.
Can I finish what I was saying? Can you hear me?
Now I can.
I was talking and you just interrupted me. I was throwing something out there. I said it's a little off the subject, but if you are traveling through Missouri, especially on I-44, be careful because we've had a lot of the roads buckling and stuff, and like they say, they call it blowing up. So, and they've been having to do a lot of repairs, and up towards Springfield, it's gotten pretty rough with spots.
Yeah, I-44 is getting pretty bad, and just in general in different sections, like Leclerc County down around Lebanon, Missouri is really bad. Parts of it going into Springfield was bad. I floated the current.
Jerome.
Yep. I just gonna tell Sparky I floated up and down the current a little bit. I've done some trail ride tubing also along the Jack's Fork. All right. Well, you guys got anything else tonight? We've been ahead a little over an hour tonight. We've had a good discussion about what's going on with Livewire and how the government's spending our money for us.
I just hope everybody, if you're listening to this and you can make it to Kansas City, that event, Thunder on the Speedway, has drawn big crowds in the past. And so I think it'll be a great time. And I know I'd love to, if you see me out there, say hi. I think Mike and April feel the same way.
Absolutely. Our buddy, our other buddy, Steve, that goes to Arkansas with us, Steve, he's going to be traveling with us up to Kansas City. So you'll get to see him this weekend as well. He just got back Monday.
The one with the trike?
Yep. I don't know if he'll be riding the trike or his other bike.
Okay, good. Be good to see him again.
He went to Laconia and was up in that area. He's from that area. So he went up and visited family, went to Laconia Bike Week and stuff like that and stuff. But he's back in the Ozarks for a little while to visit us.
Cool.
All right. Anything else, Firecracker?
Nope.
I'm going to make sure I give you a chance to talk. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sometimes that delay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep it from having dead air. I know how much everybody likes to just sit here and stare at Steve's pretty face.
Yeah. Once again, that's why I have to have a Harley Davidson, just so I can get laid.
Oh, Richard says he's going to see us all at Bike Fest.
Good.
Right on. We'll be glad. We'll be at the Ice Hole. I got to put my meet and greet stuff together, but we're definitely going to be at the Ice Hole doing a meet and greet again and stuff. And we'll look forward to meeting you there. And we appreciate everybody just hanging out with us and part of the community and having a conversation and talking to motorcycles and try not to really get into politics so much. We got into government a little bit and politics, but not party lines. And I try and stay away from that stuff. We've got plenty of things dividing our country already. I'd like to see everybody, try and respectfully understand each other's views. We ain't all got to agree, but there's just, we could do with a little less hate in the world right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, we got to do a lot more talking and listen to one another, because I don't think most of us are that far apart. I think we all want the same type of United States. We just might have different ways of getting there.
All right. Well, we'll get off of here, get off our soapbox. We'll see you guys later. Y'all stay safe. Y'all keep on riding, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.